How life started is still debated, but it has been proven to have started in water. Some believe it started with a creator, such as a god or many gods. There are many different religions that all believe in different things. Others believe that it started with an asteroid colliding with the Earth. Then lightning hit this asteroid, causing a chain of improbable consequences to happen. It caused chemicals and atoms to merge together in the water. This in turn created the first cell. These cells began to clone themselves, over time evolving to adapt to their environment. All life today comes from this cell. This includes every plant and animal. We will now follow the evolution of the human from this cell, which took millions of years. Most of these have really stupid names and I've got a mild black country accent, but I'll attempt to pronounce them anyway. Single cell organism, prokaryote, cyanobacteria, eukaryote, xenoflagellate, platyhelminthes, Pichia, high cow summit or other, agnatha, cephalaspis, coelacanth, pandorix fleas, tiktaalik, acanthosca, Ischphlioscata, Hyenopeton, Tulipeton, Westernophilia, Halomonos, Phinosuctrus, Cynogathus, Repememanos, Duramia, Plesiodapis, Carpolestes, God knows what this says, Proconsul, Civipithecus, Oranopithecus, Aurorin, Australopithecus, Homo erectus. In Africa, an early ancestor of humans had evolved called Homo erectus. Just over 1 million years ago, these early ancestors crossed the Sinai Peninsula, leaving Africa and entering Eurasia. They settled here and slowly colonised Asia as far as the Indonesian Java. Over hundreds and thousands of years, some of these evolved into a new human species, called Homo heidelbergensis. This new species also colonised into Europe and became the dominant human species. In Africa, a new species called Homosapiens evolved. In Europe, a new species called the neanderthals evolved. And in Asia, another species called the denisovans evolved. At this point, there were at least 6 human species on the Earth, but these are the 4 main ones that we can track our ancestry from. About 100,000 years ago, the Homo sapiens crossed the Sinai Peninsula and started to settle in the Middle East. The Neanderthals also spread into Asia and the Middle East, causing the Homo sapiens to retreat back into Africa. The Neanderthals continued to dominate Eurasia for about 50,000 years, but then the Homo sapiens would change their tactics. The Homo sapiens would again cross the Sinai Peninsula, but instead of fighting with the Neanderthals, they started breeding with them. This new offspring of the Homo sapiens were more ingenious and inherited many Neanderthal genes that would give them the edge on all of their competition. This new cross species colonised further into Eurasia from the Middle East and into the northern part of Africa. They also interbred with the denisovans as they colonised. They then spread from Asia into the Americas and Oceania. So what was life like for our earliest ancestors? Well, they lived in hunter-gatherer tribes. Males would go out hunting for food, while females would collect berries and take care of children. This would have been made much easier when these tribes learnt to wield fire. This fire would have allowed them to cook meat, making it more nutritious and allowing them to grow, increasing the size of their brains. It would have also helped them keep away predators and be used for hunting, such as burning down forests. They would have used simple stone tools, with each of these tribes grown into their own cultures and traditions. These tribes would have evolved along with their surroundings. For example, those in colder areas would have evolved blue eyes. Their skin would darken or lighten depending on the amount of sun in their environment. Those living in more windy conditions would have probably evolved slit eyes. This would also be the reason we find certain things attractive. It's because our brains are telling us that they would be good breeders. The reason we would find things unattractive is because our brain is telling us they would be either bad breeders or be unable to provide for us. This all would greatly vary depending on tribe, society and environment. We would have also tamed animals over time. The most important of these would have been wolves. Humans would have bribed wolves into not eating us by offering food. Soon these wolves learned that instead of hunting us, they could just stay around us and get free food. Slowly over time this caused wolves to domesticate into dogs, man's best friend. This relationship would have been beneficial to both of us. Dogs would have benefited from human knowledge, and humans would have benefited hugely from having an adept hunting partner. At first they would have spoken with very simple words, but over time and from generation to generation, these languages would grow more advanced. They would also get smarter and smarter as time went on, developing languages, better hunting techniques and more advanced cultures. This would have happened for two main reasons. First, the more advanced that they grew, the better the next generation would live and eat. The more they ate, the faster their brains would grow and develop, making them smarter over time. Secondly, these tribes would pass down knowledge through stories and religions of how best to survive. Over time they would make better tools, such as bows. These tribes would also grow substantially in number depending on the food scarcity and their environment. This allowed for much better cooperation, allowing us to thrive much better than any other animal on the planet. Normally, knowledge is passed down primarily through genetics. This is why all animals know how to breed and swim naturally. Other animals do indeed teach their offspring, but not on the same level as humans do. We, however, could teach on a grand scale, such as writing books, founding religions, writing stories, and etc. We could teach future generations knowledge with stories. This allowed us to preserve knowledge through the generations, and allowed us to build on past knowledge into becoming experts. Humans would over time acquire many skills from a whole range of areas, becoming more adept than any other animal. It's easy for us today to see our ancestors as backwards and thinking ourselves better, but you should never judge a person from the past. Every generation of human would have simply evolved to their surroundings. These early humans would have been survival experts. They would have memorised local area, recognising smells and sounds that we would not even today. It is true that if we brought one to modern times, they would not understand and be uncompetitive, but the same could be said the other way around. The next big thing to change was the development of farming and agriculture. This allowed for the first societies to be built, allowing for much more cooperation, being able to rely on others for their skills and being able to specialise in your own skill. For instance, some people would make tools while others went hunting and others still farmed. As farming got more and more efficient, the first civilizations started. Food was much more reliable and wasn't a constant fight against nature. This would lead to societies becoming more skilled in their chosen subjects and led to people having more free time, being able to invent things. This huge amount of food would require storage, which led to populations growing in size and the first villages to be built. These villages would eventually grow too crowded, resulting in the first explorers and colonizers into new lands, resulting in a higher interaction between different human tribes. This would in turn lead to tribes building their own civilizations.